Welcome to the email marketing course. First off, I want to congratulate you for taking the time and effort to become a better email marketer. Email marketing has some of the greatest leverage that you can do in your entire business because it's something that you can scale and it's something that directly affects your bottom line and you can track. More importantly, with your email marketing, it's something that you can automate. And because you can automate this process, it's something that allows a system to work instead of you doing it. So I'm going to quickly go through and give you a quick overview of what this course is. The first part, we're going to be talking about the psychology, or basically getting into the mind of your customer and figuring out how to use the words that they say and connect with them. Then we're going to jump into creating swipe files, and you're going to get these swipe files from other marketers, other people in the industry, and also the ideas that you have. And we're going to create one central database so that you have everything together instead of notebooks or post-it notes all over the place. The next thing is we're going to be talking about traffic sources, and I think this is probably one of the biggest areas or biggest myths that you see floating around. And once we talk about traffic sources, it really will change the perspective that you have on how email marketing works, because it takes away the whole how often should I mail, or should I mail content versus offers and all that. And so once we talk about traffic sources, it will change all of that for you. Next thing, we're going to be talking about examples, and I'm going to show you what I think are some of the best examples out there and how you can adopt and adapt some of those examples into your marketing. And we're going to be talking about the technical items of the business, and so things such as being compliant with your marketing, which autoresponder service to use, and other things of that nature. Now we're getting into the actual content, the piece that the deliverable that the customer is going to see, and that's the subject line. So we're going to talk about each single step of the email process, and so how to create good subject lines, how to get people to open up those subject lines. Then we're going to talk about the body, so the actual text that goes inside of the email, and we're going to talk about a couple little hacks or tricks, things that will increase your open rates, your click-through rates, and things of that nature. And then next, we're going to be talking about the autoresponder versus broadcast method, and that's laying out the automation process, and it's also laying out the process will help you scale your business. So that is the quick overview. Now let's dive into the content so that we can get started. All right, here's the first part of the email marketing course, and what we're going to do is we're going to get into the customer's mind. And you've probably heard this from other marketers and other teachers, but it's really the psychology of this. And doing this piece right here makes the difference of the entire email project that you're working on. And the reason why is because it's getting you to learn how to speak the words that they're saying, or maybe speak the words that they're not saying but they're thinking. And when you can write emails like that is when it gets your emails to be opened, it gets people to click on the links in the emails and people to take action, and it really causes that like bonding, that relationship, and it works if you're doing it as a corporate or if you're doing it on the personal type of level. So let's talk about how you can really get inside of their mind and really get into the psychology of that. When you're writing an email, you want to be writing to one person. And sure, your list is going to have a bunch of different people on it. So if you're selling an information product, like let's say a fitness product, you probably know who your primary customer is. Now, if your information product has customers that are older and younger, or male and female, you want to try and split those lists up as well as you possibly can. And if you can't do it at the very beginning, at least create a sequence so that down the pathway you can start to tag the people and then move them into their own categories. I know a lot of people, like, the myth is, oh, I've got a humongous list. And while when I write ads for ad agency and things like that, sure, we're pushing out a lot of emails. I mean, we're doing several million emails a day. But the concept that we're doing is it's a very wide net. And we're just trying to cast this wide net and then get the people that they get caught in that wide net, and then they get filtered through. When you have a normal email account, so like if your own business or your own information product, things like that, you don't want to be casting as much of a wide net. You really want to be focusing on. And so let's get into those things. First off, what you want to be doing is you want to be talking with them and find out that language they're using. So as an example, I write a lot of email copy for the business opportunity spaces, and it's not like business opportunity and like scam stuff. It's like business opportunity of figuring out what type of stock investing program I should be in, or people deciding if they should do gold investing, or people looking into get into other types of business investing, things like that. And so what I want to do when I'm talking with my customers is talking with that audience is I really want to find out the words they're using. And so in fact I made a list, and so some of the things that I do is I find out, like what are the fears that are going inside their head. And so this is one of the most recent campaigns that I did, and one of the headlines that I actually used, if I can find it right here, was a fear. It was talking with them, and the fear was that when they reach retirement age, and that's who I'm writing to. I'm writing to people that are the baby boomers. So we're talking like 50, 55 plus. The ideal person's right around early 60s. The thing that's going on in their head is they believe that if they don't get their retirement taken care of in time, they're going to have to work fast food. And so in my copy, one of the lines that I used was 67-year-old, so I used a specific age, forced to work fast food after retirement. And the reason how I got fast food, and I wouldn't have known that myself, is because they mentioned that, man, if I don't get my finances taken care of, I'm going to have to get a job at McDonald's or be a Walmart greeter. That's a lot of pain, but that's entering in the conversation that they may have it in their mind, or that they've talked with their friends, when they're out getting a drink or dinner or things like that. So the best way you can do this is really talk with your customers, and just do a phone conversation or face-to-face and bring a notepad and find out what are some of those words they're using. So like you're looking for words like forced, like, oh, I'm forced to do this. And you don't really want like, oh, I'd be happy if. That's too vanilla. Like you really want to find words that they're using. So for example, in internet marketing space, a lot of the terms that people use is say, oh, if I could just get over this shiny object syndrome, or oh, I just feel addicted to, see what I mean? So like find those words. Now, if you can't talk with the people, another thing that you can do is you can go to forums. And some of the forums that I really like are Amazon. And Amazon's not really a forum, but what you want to do is find books or products that those people purchase. And when you see those books and products, look at their comments. And there's going to be some hot words that you see in those comments. And you don't want a really, like, most of the time the really polished interview, like the comments, those aren't going to be really good. You want something that looks genuine. Another place that you can look is going to be Yahoo Answers, Quora. It's Quora, I think it is. That's a really good place. And then go into the individual forum sites. And for me, in our business, for the internet marketing and the software and Facebook, whenever someone else is releasing a product, so when another marketer is releasing a product about Facebook or social media or things like that, I'm always looking in the forum and I'm reading all the comments. And I don't really look at the other person. I don't look at their copy, like their sales letter. I glance at it, but I'm not really concerned with that as much as I'm concerned with the comments. Because people say, oh, getting this software will solve X. Or, I'm looking for what those words are. And those hot words are the things that I can use in my email copy. And then another thing to do is go to YouTube and look at the videos that people make. And really start to learn what are those hot words they're using in the videos. And also look at the comments of those videos. So that's the gist of, as we see right here, that's the gist of getting inside of the person's mind. And if you can get inside their mind and really figure out what it is that they're talking about, they're thinking about, that's when your copy wins. Now, the second part that we're going to show next is what to do with all that information. So let's jump to that next piece. All right, so the next step is creating swipe files. Now, your swipe file is going to be so useful for you. What a swipe file is it's finding ideas from other marketers, and it's also gathering all of the ideas and comments that you've found on the internet, from the forums, from different websites that you find from videos or wherever it may be. And what you're doing is you're going to compile all of that information, and the best place that I've seen to put that is into what they call an Evernote folder. Now, Evernote is if you don't use it right now, it's a freemium model. So they offer a free service. You can, if you don't have an account, just start out with the free, and I think they offer maybe like up to a gig of space. Plenty of space. That's all you'll need for now. And go through and start to put all of your swipe files into an Evernote folder. Now, I'll give you an extra tip of something that I think works really good. If you're using, I think Google Chrome and maybe Mozilla Firefox does it too, you can add this toolbar. So if you notice my mouse up in the right hand corner, I say clip to Evernote folder. And so you notice that it'll clip this. And so this is for apps, and it must have picked that up. And I have an Evernote folder as apps, and you can see all the different folders that I have. So I have an email marketing folder, and I also have a swipe folder. So what you do is you can get all of this tagged into that folder, and then it's all searchable. And that's what the benefit of Evernote is now you have everything searchable. And so if there was a really good subject line or like a certain hot word, type it in and it pulls it up for you. So for me, Evernote is an absolute lifesaver. And grab all of your swipe files and put it into Evernote. And then you're organized, and it works on your mobile, and it works on your iPad, and it works on your computer. So everywhere, and it's on the cloud. The next step is to create a Dropbox folder. And so that's if you see any really good videos or you have any web pages or files that are bigger, I put it in a Dropbox folder. Now, for the swipe type of things, I don't use Dropbox as much as I use Evernote. Now, I'm going to give you a word of caution. And this is coming from me where I messed up for a number of years. A number of years, I subscribed to lots and lots of email newsletters from different marketers out there. And I did one thing that was smart is I subscribed on a email address that I don't use as my primary address. So if you're going to do that, do it on an email address that's not going to your phone, that you're not looking at all the time. So that was the smart thing I did. The dumb thing I did was I used that as a reference. And what happened is I started to lose my own voice and kind of say, oh, this person did this, oh, this person did that. And it was really detrimental to my success. So take it with a grain of salt of creating swipe files. One, it's going to help you, but don't let it bleed into who you are and your own style and what really works, because they may be testing things and it might not work for them either. So that's just kind of the word of advice I give you with swipe files. And then the last thing is perfect your craft. This process, and I know as a salesman, the process should say, oh, it's going to be push button, easy, simple, and it's all going to happen right away. And the truth is, it's not. Like, this takes work. This takes time. But most people don't put in the work. They don't put in the time to do it. And really, just showing up and writing, and you write a really crappy email, it's going to work. And over time, you get better and better. So the fact that you're doing this right now is going to make a big difference in the long term. So let's jump on to the next module in the email marketing course. Okay, the next module in the email marketing course is about the traffic sources. So have you ever heard someone say that, oh, you have to provide email content 75–80% of the time, and then 25 or 20% can only be an offer or a pitch? You've probably heard that. I've heard it from a lot of people. And while that may be true for them, that's not true overall. Okay? And the traffic source is what really determines that. So we're going to get in, we're going to break those myths, and I'm going to show you how you can give offers every single email. We're also going to show you how you can just give content every single email. It really varies in what you're doing. So let's jump into each single of those pieces. And really it determines by what they are used to. So we're going to get into every single one of these pieces. First off is the big wide net. And that's doing an email drop, and that's purchasing emails as a media buy, and that's a bigger game of email marketing. To be in the email drop business, costs a lot of money and it takes a lot of savviness. So we've done email drops, and that's when we're sending out millions of emails on a day, and it's not cheap. We're spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a day for email, but the return is pretty high as well. So the email drops are from big, giant, like conglomerate newsletters, and again, they're casting a wide net. And the thing is, on those email drops is there is an offer every single day. Now, the cool thing about email drops is this. It's breaking the norms of what all the gurus say that you can't provide. You can't do offers every single day. You can. It takes a lot of work to get to this level, to the email drop level. But when you do this, this is where you make, solid 5-6 figures per day on email, and I'm not kidding. Like it works that well. Again, it takes a lot of work to get there. So if they're on that type of list, they understand that there's offers, they can accept that, and you can put out an offer every single day. For the people that are watching this video, so for you, this probably doesn't make sense at this level of the game right now. I just wanted to explain it to you. The next level is called the co-reg. How that works is when you go to, you see a website sometimes, and it's not as big as it used to be, and it's usually on like a B level or C level type of website. It says sign up for this newsletter, and then a box pops up and says sign up for these other newsletters. That's called co-reg. And so when you click the box to sign up for the other newsletters, or it's already clicked, what it does is it's putting you on those email lists. Now, again, that's a lot higher level. There's going to be more emails marketed. There's going to be more offers there. And the overall open rates of the emails are going to be a lot lower. And on top of that, it's going to be casting a wider net. Now, for you and the other people that are watching this video, this is probably not the case as well. It's not the area to start. So we're going to keep going, but I really wanted you to know about that. The next is the newsletter. Now, this is more common. This is what local businesses, corporate, and even big info brands use. Now, the newsletter is typically going to be an HTML, so a good-looking type of email, and it can be sent out on a daily, bi-weekly, weekly, however frequency that is, determines on what they're used to. Now, that can be a blend of straight-up offers, but it's usually a blend of content and offer, news, and things like that. This is something solid to get going, and it's to be consistent with. If you want to run it on a weekly or a monthly basis, it's something to go with. Most of the time, monthly is a little too spread out, unless you have like a really fanatic type of fan base. So like, let's say it was like a photography fan base, like a specific photography fan base or a specific niche, then you can probably get away with doing like a monthly newsletter. Besides that, you really want to narrow it down and like maybe do it once a week or something of that nature. Again, probably for you and the other people watching this, the newsletter is still on that higher level, so we want to get down and we want to talk about the niche space. So the niche space is probably where you're going to be in the email marketing world. And so that means if you have your own product, or if you're working with someone that has a product, or you're trying to build up your own brand, so a blogger or whatever that may be, that's where you're developing your own voice. And again, determining on how that market reacts to offers, you can do content 80% of the time and offer 20% of the time, or it can be all offer, all content. Figure that out. Some of the, it really is going to determine how your audience is coming into your funnel. So if the other people in that niche space are doing lots of offers, then they understand that offers can happen. If there's no offers being made in that space, and it's only an offer is being made through a different vertical, then obviously that's something they're kind of preconditioned to, so you'll want to test changing that up. The next is the endorsed type of email, and the endorsed is usually affiliates, or it's getting emails from other type of relationships. Again, this is very valuable, very highly leveraged. So figure out what they are used to, the people that are bringing that endorsed relationship, and that's how you want to treat the audience. So figure out what that is. The next is the personal level of email. This is probably going to be more on the consultant type of thing. So let's say you're a local consultant, and your really aim is to work with, let's say, 50 businesses or less. So you're really kind of like a boutique shop, and you can do great that way. So on the personal level, you can still have a newsletter or autoresponder or broadcast emails. You just want to do it on a more personal type of level. Now, does that mean that you're going to put offers inside of there? Maybe. Maybe the offer inside of there isn't really an offer to link to an email. Maybe the offer is to a phone, like, hey, give me a call. Or the offer is an event, or whatever that may be. So figure that out. And then last is the corporate. And the corporate works for these new startups, and it also works on the level if you're consulting with businesses. And what I've found to work really well right now in the startup area is clean HTML, very, very low clutter, like simple, crisp. And I'm going to give you some examples in just a few minutes so you can see what that is. And I'll give you examples of lots of these things here. But the clean and crisp and straight and to the point, this is the corporate that works really well. So let's get into the examples so you can see exactly what we're talking about. But understand that all of this really makes sense of how you email by what they're conditioned to and what makes sense in that marketplace. Now, don't take it as the gold standard. You need to test. So if they're only used to getting content, well, then mix it up and then provide some offers. If they're only used to getting offers, mix it up and give content. So you have to, you have to change things around and test. So let's get into the next piece. Okay, so now let's get into the real live examples so I can show you hands-on what I think work really well, and you can get an idea of what to use. So with the first example, we're going to get on the high level. And again, this is talking more about like co-reg level, or talking about like the big email blasts, big email drops and things like that. You're probably not at this level watching this course, and but it gives you a good idea what to look for, and it breaks all of the myths that the gurus say. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because I want to tear down those walls of myths, because there's a lot of people that say that, oh, you can't always ask for the email address, or oh, you can't always make an offer, and it's just bull. You totally can. So the first example is Motley Fool. So take a look at this. Motley Fool, here's their website. They get a ton of traffic, and here's the example of this. You see this ad down here. It's called The Death of PC. I haven't clicked on this, but I know exactly what it does. So watch this. It takes you to a page that looks, it's going to be blank. Boom, there you go. This is the Motley Fool style. So they're asking for the email address before anything else. That's how they're getting their massive emails. You see right here, they're not having to put a fancy page up. They're not having to do a Facebook Connect. They're not having to do anything else. It's just basically saying the two words Bill Gates doesn't want you to hear, curiosity. And because of that, it is getting huge email subscriptions every single day. Now, if I put in my email address, the email that I'm going to get is going to be an offer straight away. That's how they make money. So just wanted to show you and kind of break that myth down. Now, the next one that we're going to talk about, this is Wistia. Wistia, this is more on the corporate type, and these guys are a new startup. I think that this email, I love it. It looks really good. Now, it might not convert as well as some of the other emails do, on a personal basis, but they look awesome, and they're starting to condition customers to like this style. But you can see right here, look, very clean HTML template. We updated the project page, the cleaner design. Let us, see it's very, very to the point. Now here is the cool thing with this, and this is a tip for you guys. One, on here, you'll notice on the video, there's a play button, okay? Now, we as marketers know that you can't actually hit the play button inside of an email. But the reason why you do this is because people are conditioned to hit the play button. So when you hit the play button here, it actually takes them to their own website. So if you're doing a screenshot if you're doing a video that you want them to click on, do that play button. Put a play button on the video. If you have to Photoshop it, or if you have to do a screenshot of like the YouTube video with the play button, make sure it's on there. Now, where they're messing up, and this would be really helpful, is some people, and it probably doesn't apply to them as much because their audience is very savvy, but some people that do these type of beautiful HTML emails, see the play button? Some people might not realize. So again, like with the baby boomers and that audience, they might not realize where to click. So what they should do is down below this is they should say, click here, do a text, click here to watch the video. That's what would help them out even more. Now, overall, very, very good looking email. Now, there's another thing. Notice there's a click here to opt out. That's called the unsubscribe link. Every single email to be compliant needs to have that. Now, in the past, I taught, and I don't suggest doing this anymore, I taught to move this down a little bit. And I wouldn't move it down much. I'm talking like 3 or 4 spaces. Because I think that this is too close. Because a person could accidentally click on that. I think I would probably give a little bit more white space right here between these two. In the past, my white space would be a lot bigger, so like I would have put it down here. So that's a big no-no. The email companies will get really mad if you make it so it's out of reach. So don't do that. Don't be doing any kind of tricks. And I never did tricks like hit it or anything like that. I just put too much white space. So I would suggest putting a little more white space there. Now, the next email that I want to show you, this is Ramit. His name is Ramit Sethi. And Ramit is a marketer in the, it's like the psychology, but it's also the investing and I don't want to say make money space, even though his website's called I'll Teach You to Be Rich. It's a bad name, but it really, he's a brilliant, brilliant marketer. And I'm on his email list, and I'm actually, I've purchased many of his high-end courses. So if you want to learn really good email marketing and a good swipe, subscribe to his list. I will teach you to be rich.com. I don't get anything from it. I'm not an affiliate. I'm just endorsing it because he's a really good marketer. But you'll see right here, it's actually an HTML email, but it looks like text. And it's brilliant. It uses a lot of the words that I want to hear. And he's at the end of his emails, he's asking for a subtype of action. And that action is either an offer. Most of the time it's not an offer. It's usually an action to like interact with him, or an action to watch a video, or to get more content, or to go to a blog, or things like that. So I just wanted to share that with you. And the next one is AppSumo. And AppSumo is on the offer type of page. Now, AppSumo before used to do offers all of the time, like every single day. Now they've cut back and they've changed that a little bit. But here's their email. It's an HTML email. And this is an offer. So you can see they're fine making offers, and they provide value. They're to the point. Very clean. And all of this information is kind of within. And notice how they're in subscribe link. It's, it's there in the email, but it's not, hitting you in the face. So those are really good emails. I'd suggest signing up for AppSumo to get on their list and to see how they do things. They're brilliant marketers as well. So those are a couple examples. I didn't get into and show you niche specific emails or other emails like that because those all vary. Some of the other great examples, there's a course called ARM, Auto Response Madness, I believe it's called. Andre Shapiro, gosh, I can't ever pronounce his name. Brilliant marketer. He created a course a while ago. And teaches some amazing marketing tips and training. Now, one of the things that he does create, and he calls it his soap opera sequence, and it's kind of a story. So if you've ever seen the TV show like Lost or 24, all these shows, they create this thing called open loops. And so they open a question or a scene, and then they go through, then open another scene, and they open another scene, and then they answer, they kind of resolve one of the problems. He teaches that in his email marketing course. He teaches to open loops, raise your questions, doubts, whatever it may be, and then he goes through the email and through the sequences and starts to answer those. Here's the good and here's the bad. One, it works in many niches, in many areas. The emails can sometimes be longer, or they'll go to a blog or to a video. Most of the time it just stays inside the email. The good with that is it can bond with the audience, and it can cause them to open more emails, and actually over time it causes the email open rates to jump up as the sequence goes on. And then at the end, there's an offer. The problem with that is it's very predictable now. So what I mean by that is it kind of makes your radar go off when you see someone going through this sequence and they write an email and they create these open loops, and the next day more open loop, but they answer questions, and so on and so on. And then all of a sudden 5 days later there's an offer, and it just kind of it's kind of like learning the magic trick. Like once you see how the magician does it, you're like, oh yeah, well he's just gonna do this magic trick. And that's what can happen to the audience as soon as they go through that cycle. Now it's really good. Take the great things out of it. He's a brilliant email marketer, brilliant. So and I'm not an affiliate. I'm just endorsing that because it's a really good product. But whenever people say, hey, do these soap opera sequences or do these long emails and create these open loops, don't take it for word that it always works. I've done it and it works sometimes, but I found other methods to work even better. So that's the gist of all these different things. Now let's get into the next part of the email marketing training. All right, in the next part of the email marketing training, we're going to talk about the technical items. Now, there's a lot of technical pieces that you can mold over and really like take a lot of time to follow up and figure out. What I want to do is help you break through all those barriers, and we're going to talk about how to be compliant. We're going to talk about which email service providers to use, because one, that's a big anxiety, and a lot of people want to know, oh, who should I use? And then we're also going to talk about list maintenance, management, and things like that. So let's jump in first off. Compliance, and I'm going to give you guys a couple examples of what to do to be compliant and the best example overall. And so how we're going to find that is right here. You see list compliance, and I'm going to show you at the bottom of these emails. So this is Ramit's email, and notice down here to unsubscribe, change subscriber options, or visit here. That's an unsubscribe link. You have to do that to be able to be email compliant. Now, every single email service provider requires that you do that. It's part of the CAN spam. So for the most part, and I'm not an attorney, I'm not giving legal advice. For the most part, going through the email autoresponder through their program, filling in your information to be CAN spam compliant, which you're forced to do, you're going to be good if you're sending out your own emails to your own offers or your own product or your own people. Okay? And that's required. They're going to put it in there. Notice how it has your company name, your address, and information like that. It doesn't have to be your house address. It could be a P.O. box. It could be your business address, whatever that is. So, whatever makes sense for you, and you'll figure that out. Go for there. Now, you can go as far as this. And here's Eben Pagan. Eben was actually one of my mentors. And he's a great marketer, and he goes a little bit further, and I don't know if it's because he's in the state of California where this originates, or just because he goes a little bit further on this. When you're doing emails for affiliates, you have to have more disclosure, more information on there. Again, seek legal counsel and find that out, or Google it, do whatever you need to do. But you notice right here how he has a lot more information than just the typical unsubscribe link. And see, he's got an unsubscribe link there, but all of that. So figure out what makes sense for you. For us, we have our email unsubscribe link at the very bottom, which is Office Autopilot. Okay, so now let me take you over to the next question, which is list maintenance. Now, when you're using an email service provider, and one of these email service providers, like what we're using here is Office Autopilot, and Ramit is using a company called Aweber. When you're using an email service provider, they do a lot of the list maintenance for you. What that means is when a person unsubscribes, clicks on that link, they are taken off of your list and there's a record of it. And so a part of that compliance is already taken care of. Now, when you step up to a new level of email marketing, which means you are hosting the email service provider yourself, so you're doing the hosted email, which typically means you're on a larger platform, there's a lot of requirement for you. For the people that are watching this video for you, that's probably not an issue. And so you don't need to worry about that. If you are hosting the email yourself, then you need to figure out with the company that's helping you host that, figure out what you need to do to become compliant. I'm not going to get into those things because it's on this level and we're right here. So you don't need to worry about that right now. Now, other things about email compliance. One, if a person unsubscribes from your list, don't put them on another list. One, it's just not a nice thing to do. It's not good business practice, and it's not compliant. Now, a lot of people in certain spaces, especially the internet marketing space, are horrible at this, and it's really one of my pet peeves. You unsubscribe from a list, and all of a sudden you get put onto another list or a friends list or something like that. Don't do that. That's just bad business, okay? If a person unsubscribes, let them unsubscribe. Now, I will say one thing. In our Office Autopilot, I have it set up when a person unsubscribes from us. And when they click that button, we know about all of our customers. We know the products that they purchase, we know the emails that they open, we know the actions that they take, and we grade all of our customers. So by grading all of our customers, we know how active they are or how inactive they are. Now, for our customers that are a little more active, what I do is it sends me a message. And every single time a person unsubscribes, it sends me a message and says, hey, this person unsubscribed. And if it makes sense, I follow up with them through my personal email address to say, hey, I noticed you unsubscribed. How come? Because I sincerely want to know where I messed up. And I never send them another email after that. I never put them on an email list. I just want to know where we messed up. And sometimes, and honestly, it's been many times that they just click the wrong link and they unsubscribe themselves. So that's a practice that you can do if it makes sense for your business. But again, don't ever spam people. That's not nice. The last thing is email service providers. So I'm going to give you a couple examples. Actually, I'll give you this first example. This one's called MailChimp. MailChimp is something a lot of people talk about. It's a free platform up to, I forget, a couple thousand email addresses or maybe 500. A lot of people like it. Kevin's used it for their discount card stock. I personally, I think it's okay. It has a couple things that I don't like about it. Take a look at it if it makes sense for you, and if you're on a really tight budget, you can do that. If you are running like a boutique shop and you are doing your business on a very small scale, so you're not looking to build a big email list and you're just looking to work with a small group of clients, you can still run things out of Gmail. Like, keep it simple for now if you have to. But if you're looking for that HTML pretty glossy thing, you can go with this. An email service, iContact, I've used them for years. Really good company. A good thing about iContact that I like over most of the other companies is iContact allows you to import the email addresses without them having to sign up and confirm the link. Where that's particularly helpful is if you're doing local marketing and you meet a business owner and you want to sign them up to your newsletter. You can then put them on your newsletter without them having to get an email that says click to confirm this link. So that's the benefit to it. It's been really helpful. Again, don't put people on your email list if they haven't signed up. Don't do anything like that. And then the last company, which I've had an account with Aweber for, 5 or 6 years now. Really good company. They offer really easy email templates and very scalable. Now, you're going to hear the argument, and then lastly is Office Autopilot. This is a very high level. Kevin and I use this. It's expensive, several $100s a month. We use it because it's a very complete and complex system. do you need this now? Unless it really makes sense, I wouldn't go up to this level. And some people say, oh, well, my business is going to be there. Well, cool. Solve that problem when your business gets there. Notice this, because a lot of people say, oh, I have to have Infusionsoft or Aweber, right, or Office Autopilot right now. So Aweber. Now look at this. Ramit, his email list is on Aweber. He has over 160,000 people on that email list. So don't let that be an excuse. Now, people are going to say, oh, well, which email platform has the best deliverability rates? So who's going to send the emails the best? Who's going to be the most reliant and all of that? That's up to you to decide. For now, let's just get into the game. So if you're on a tight budget, go with MailChimp, or you can do one of the free trials or smaller trials with these email service providers here. But find one that works for you. Now, there's higher level ones when you're doing self-hosted, and there's a few other email service providers out there. And I know that you could go and do things like run it off of an Amazon server. There's just compliance issues and other things like that. So for now, I would look at these main companies and find one that really works for you.